Rochester Press Box. I'm Tariq Spence, filling in for Bill Pucko. And joining us now is Bob Bleier. Good morning. How are you?
Great to be here, man.
All right. Good to have you. Talk a little bit about the NFL, all the different things going on. Of course, one Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, there is no better jersey for my money when it comes to 90s, 2000s NBA jerseys. Is there better than the sky blue, orange, black combo? Because they had it for a couple of years. There was the paint stripe across the front of it. I love this jersey. It's my favorite NBA jersey.
Nasty.
And Cleveland, one of the top 5 teams that they think could actually win an NBA championship this year. We'll go on that number 4. I wanted to ask you about when it comes to sort of these 3 quarterbacks that are out there. We've got Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Jimmy G. Which one of these quarterbacks would you like in your franchise if you feel you're close?
I think Jimmy G's probably the go-to. Rodgers, I watched his body language all year. Pat, I don't know if you notice players on the field, how they behave and how they act and how they react, facial expressions, hanging their head. I thought Rodgers was a bit much this year, a little bit much drama. I think Derek Carr has been overrated since the beginning of his career. He's never won big games. He's a good, solid quarterback. I think he's going to be like a journeyman, like Fitzpatrick maybe. I think he'll bounce around a lot, but I think Jimmy G is probably the biggest, strongest, best drop back passer of all of them, and Rodgers is losing his edge. So I'd go with Jimmy G.
Your thoughts of the 3 available for your team?
I'm going the complete opposite of you. Jimmy G, I think, is a guy you can plug into a team that already has a lot going for it. So if I'm the Jets, I'm going to be better than I was last year with Jimmy G, but he's not going to be able to make a play for me consistently. The thing that scares me about Rodgers is look, I agree with you with the body language, but I mean, this kind of been his MO the whole time he's been in the league, right? Like, I don't think Aaron Rodgers can play in an offense where he's not the focal point of things. I think Aaron Rodgers is good to a fault, where if you put him in New York and the running game is going well and the defense is keeping you in games and you want to win the way that Robert Saleh wants to win by just scoring more points than the other team does, he's going to potentially make a mistake that he doesn't have to. For that reason, I think Derek Carr is a steady quarterback that can get you a play more so than Jimmy Garoppolo. And for that reason, if I'm in a situation where I'm the Jets or I'm the Panthers where I think I have something going on with my defense, or, I mean, even if the Broncos were looking to move on from Russ, I think Carr is the guy that I would want. Run the offense, get me a play or 2 throughout the game that I need from a guy like you that has the arm talent. Let's go home.
Of the 3 quarterbacks, it's just so bizarre. You're not sure where Rodgers' head is at. Derek Carr, you know full well, has played pretty well, but never really been able to take a team to the promised land. Jimmy G actually took a team to the promised land, but it gets injured a lot. So there's a lot of different variables here.
Well, but you look at somebody like Aaron Rodgers, like he's being connected to New York over and over and over again. Aaron Rodgers in New York, based on his personality and the things that he has no problem coming out and saying, is going to be a disaster. He was a media hotspot in Green Bay, Wisconsin. What happens when he's in the biggest media market in the world and he has the most important, recognizable reporters asking him questions that he doesn't like on a daily basis?
Well, it's quite interesting. This weekend is the Combine. I wanted to ask you, Bob, about it, because were you at the first Combine in '87?
I was. Incredibly, I was, yes.
What did you think?
It's amazing. You know, there's a lot of big names are going to be there. I think the players are bigger, faster, stronger now. The collisions are harder in the sport. The injuries are more severe. But I came out with a really good quarterback class. Testaverde was there, Harbaugh, Don Mikowski, Steve Berline, Rich Gannon, me. I mean, it was an incredible quarterback class. Everybody played for a long time but me. So, in any event.
Well, you could have got stuff autographed, man. You would have had something to show on the back end.
I actually did. When I was in the Blue-Gray game, they came out with the brochure of the Blue-Gray game. I had all the players in the locker room sign it, and a lot of them. A couple Hall of Famers, a couple All-Pros.
That's awesome.
Really good stuff. Yeah.
I'd like to see that someday. My goodness. We'll talk Buffalo Bills coming up next. What's all this trade talk with Stefon Diggs? You're watching the Rochester Press Box.
Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. If you like to travel like I do, you'll love my travel books. Buy one, get one free right now. Email me, let me know what you need. MikeTheGetawayGuy@gmail.com. I'll even sign it. MikeTheGetawayGuy@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Tariq Spence filling in for Bill Pucko, and the Buffalo Bills segment is brought to you by Ralph Honda for 3 generations, celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right. RalphHonda.com. All right, I get really nervous when I hear players that are very passionate, very good, top players. The rumors of trades and Stefon Diggs. I want to get your thoughts first.
What rumors? The rumors that you're starting right now? Nobody of any substance has said anything about Stefon Diggs being traded. I hate you, Tariq. I hate you so much because every week that you host this show where you sit in this spot, we talk about the Bills. Oh, is the window closed for the Bills? Oh, Stefon, no, he's not getting traded. If the Bills wanted to trade him, they could not trade him because of the amount of dead money that would count against the cap over the next couple of years. He's not going anywhere. A guy can have a problem with how an offense is being run with a quarterback that he is on good terms with, and everything can still be okay.
See, Bobby, get a good front seat view when I ride
right.
once in a while.
I think he's a visible voice for the Bills. His sideline antics aren't the best. I think he's an incredible playmaker. He's an incredible receiver. He doesn't drop many balls. Maybe all the Diggs talk is his brother coming to Buffalo. Maybe that's the Diggs they're talking about.
That would be fine. I'm fine with that, I guess.
You want his brother, though. You want to add to it. This is what you're saying, right?
Here's what I don't understand. How quickly we forget what works and what doesn't work. Because you sit here and you guys see what's going on with Diggs and you hear all this talk about, oh, he's not going to work in Buffalo and same old guy. Do we not remember the Bills' Super Bowl years? Do we not remember that we called them the bickering Bills? Do we not remember Jim Kelly and Andre Reed having blow-up arguments? Andre Reed calling into radio shows on his way home from the game so fans could hear how upset he was with how the play calling went that day. This is nothing compared to what Bills fans saw with the most successful Bills teams in history.
But you know full well, Bubba, the fact that there is selective history. The people that do not want to talk about those moments stuff he's accurately portraying and want to just get to the, oh, it was a great time, cake on offense, it was the greatest ever, blah, 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 blah. There's internal strife with NFL teams all the time.
All the time, but I think if you look back at the teams that have won the Super Bowl the last several years, there haven't been a lot of antics on those teams. You know, when the Rams won, when the Patriots won multiple times. I just think that, you know, as a fan, you don't see that often. You don't understand the dynamics behind a team. And when a team's winning, everything is great. It's when a team is stressed and loses crucial, critical games, or if a big star player isn't getting the ball. That's when you see a lot of the antics on the sidelines. And you didn't see that with a lot of these Super Bowl teams.
Well, with the Bills, you have seen it the last couple of years. Of course, last year with the antics of Stefon Diggs showing very much passion of wanting the ball from Josh Allen, and in the close games against Kansas City. They are right there. It's part of the history of this team. You don't get this right this year, there might be some serious problems.
Oh my God! Why? What is there to suggest? I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done talking to you. What do you mean? Why?
Can we have a real, honest conversation about your team putting it all together?
Let's have a real, honest conversation about your team. You're going to have to franchise tag a quarterback that shouldn't deserve it or a running back that is going to blow your money. What are you, nuts?
I'm not paying Daniel Jones $45 million. Okay?
You might be paying Daniel Jones. You might be paying Daniel Jones $45 million.
See how he switched it on me?
I love Daniel Jones, by the way.
I pay him $45 million. Come on, Tariq. What happened?
It's not even, on to the next segment. Like it or not, coming up next, you're watching the Rochester Press Box. You can't pull that on me. I pull it on you.
Here's the Press Box Trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
Hey, hello again, Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. I have been traveling everywhere, and you can see my latest getaways right now. Just search for The Getaway Guy on Facebook. That's The Getaway Guy on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Hey, there was a news item this week that made me immediately think of you. Is that the Washington Redskins validated the replacement players by awarding them championship rings for the 1987 season. The history lesson is the NFL players were on strike, 1987. For the first 3 games of the season, they replaced them with guys essentially like yourself,
Yep.
off the street,
Yep.
and put them in professional football uniforms and made them play real games. That team went 3-0, and the Redskins won the championship, and they officially recognized them this week, which I think totally validates your career.
Career. Okay. But here, I'm gonna point out one thing here. You said take them off the street. I don't think these guys came off the street. They were all players. They were all college players. They were free agents. There were some veteran people that played on all the teams. But I completely agree with the validation point. I think that those guys are deserving. ESPN did a big story on them a short time ago, and if it contributed to the success of the season, it helped them get home field advantage in the playoffs. If those wins counted, I completely agree that they're entitled to that reward.
Yeah,
as
how
well.
bad was it? Because I remember covering the Bills, and the players are out there with picket signs and stuff, and shouting obscenities at these guys that they were bringing in to try out.
I went through that. I experienced it. It was kind of odd because typically the superstars were not the ones that were the most vocal. They knew their jobs. They had job security. When the strike broke, they'd come back, they'd play. It was the second team, the third team, guys deep on the depth chart that were the most vocal and the ones that, Steve Grogan was great to me. Tony Eason, great to me. That third stringer, he really got in my face. It was
Who was it?
Tom Ramsey from UCLA. He didn't appreciate me crossing the line. And then when Doug Flutie crossed the line with me, and we were the two quarterbacks that played during the strike, it validated the fact that I made that choice to get a chance to play.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Like or not segment is brought to you by Sport Clips, where the MVP experience is better than ever. Sport Clips, the pros in men's hair. No appointment needed. Stop by a Rochester location today. All right, right now, as it stands, I'd like to get both thoughts today for you guys. The Boston Celtics are plus 250 to win the NBA title this year. Do you like Boston, Bob?
I've always loved Boston. Boston's history goes back to the Garden and Bird and McHale and DJ and Parrish and all those guys. Boston has such a great treasured history in basketball that when Boston's playing well in the NBA is in a good spot. I think it's like the Yankees. When the Yankees are playing good, people watch baseball. I think when Boston's playing well and winning, people watch NBA basketball.
Finals last year, pretty close against the Warriors. If Steph Curry doesn't hero that ball out and basically win the finals, Boston.
Well, let's look at it this way. Let's not say, is Boston the favorite? Let's ask who else is coming out of the East. I mean, depending on what's going on with Giannis's wrist, Milwaukee's an obvious threat. The Nets are done, right? Cleveland is exciting upstart. I don't think that they have the smoke to hang with someone like Boston. The Knicks aren't going to do anything other than make it. I am interested to see what the Heat look like with Kevin Love as a potential rotation player now with Jimmy Butler. Because if there's one person I've learned to never count out, ever, it's Jimmy Butler and what he can get out of professional veteran players that show up on his roster.
Milwaukee Bucks, number 2, plus 400. Number 3 is Phoenix, which I find interesting, just getting Durant and company. If they can get that team to work, that should be interesting as well. I think the Lakers were like plus 1,600, so we'll wait and see what happens there.
Do you really think, look, I don't mean to, I know this is going to be sacrilegious to some people. The fact that Chris Paul is the point guard for the Suns means that they won't be winning the NBA Finals.
Agree.
Right? He's a guy, look, for as talented as he is, there are just some guards that cannot win. And he is one of those guards throughout NBA history that cannot win.
Other than Boston, anybody else to watch out for, do you think?
I love the Warriors. I've always loved the
Going
Warriors.
out on a limb on that one.
Hey.
But the Suns are a really nice team to watch, too. They're fun to watch. They're young. They make real aggressive plays on defense. And I don't think you can count the Suns out. They're that good.
Yeah, it's interesting with the Warriors. Nobody really wants to bury them yet. Even though they're at the bottom of the West, nobody really wants to just say you guys are done just yet.
Well, we've learned our lesson, right? And also that play-in tournament turns the playoffs completely on their head because anybody from 10-1 has a chance to make a run. And again, I love the NBA like this because you have your superstars that are fading. You have the new stars like Tatum you brought up coming back up now. Half of the league is on an almost equal playing field right now.
A lot of parity.
Yes, there is going to be amazing basketball come these playoffs.
What about the XFL? I know we haven't gotten to the U.S. Football League yet, but the XFL thrown in a couple different rooms. Have you watched that yet, Bob, or no?
I have not. Unfortunately, I'm a football guy, too. I love watching anything football, but I can't I can't kind of connect. I can't get into it.
You weren't glued to the TV to see what A.J. McCarron was going to do last weekend?
No, I think it was we're tuning in to see A.J. McCarron's wife. Really, that's the other thing too. I turned off football now. I'm ready for pitchers and catches to report.
So I thought the same thing, and my wife and kids were out of town over the past weekend, and FanDuel allows you to bet on the XFL. I watched 3 full beginning to end XFL games just for the gambling aspect of it. Not only did I win, which was awesome, it's entertaining football. It's really, really entertaining football. But they're using it as a proving ground for rule changes for the NFL potentially next season, and that might be a problem, which I'll discuss in Unfinished Business.
Wow, what a tease. Unfinished Business is next. You're watching the Rochester Press Box. The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
Came down to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back to Rochester Press Box. Unfinished Business is brought to you by Genesee Brew House, your beer destination since 2012. Visit the gift shop, enjoy the tasting at their Pilot Brewery, and dine at the pub-style restaurant. Unfinished Business, and Pat Duffy fires first.
The XFL in its third inclination is kind of partnering with the NFL in the fact that they're bringing out rules to make the game more exciting so the NFL can see how that applies to gameplay. And there was one game that was super exciting over the weekend. A team down 15-3 with a minute and a half. They came back and won with a minute and a half, but they didn't recover an onside kick. They use a new rule where you have a chance from your own 25 to get a first down on a 4th and 15. They converted it. They drove down the field. They scored a 3-point conversion at one point. Yes, that's right. 1-2, 3-point conversion. And the game was bananas, mostly because I had it as part of my parlay and I needed it bad. It was fun and it was exciting, and the NFL should never go anywhere near what the XFL is trying, because there was a game where a team had a 2-possession lead with a minute and a half, a game that they earned that win. They worked hard, and all of it was wiped out by gimmicky ideas at the end of the game. As much as I was on the edge of my seat, and as fun as it was to watch A.J. McCarron deal down the field and get this win, if I'm a Bills fan, where I watch that defense dominate all game long, put 15 points on the board, enough to win, and you lose it all in a minute and a half because of a 3-point conversion and a 4th and 15 to drive the field, I'd be out of my mind. As great as it is, it invalidates the rest of the game. So there are a couple of things I'm looking forward to seeing maybe moving forward to the NFL. Quick points and no onside kicks, not one of them.
I want to kind of talk a little bit about Section 5 basketball. We are in the sectional season. A lot of parity in Section 5 this year, not a lot of dominating teams. I'm thinking there's maybe 5 or 10 teams that could really come out on top in this. You always have Victor, the perennial powerhouse, a lot of wins during the regular season. Then you have Aquinas, who's a grinder team. You got teams like Brighton and Thomas and Franklin, who are just great athletic teams that can shoot the ball. So if you haven't watched Section 5 basketball in quite some time, I think this is a great time to do it because the sectionals are rolling around right now. Also, a shout out to 2 AQ grads. Number 1, Demarius Owens, who we thought was going to Syracuse University on a full scholarship for hoops, flipped and went to Marquette, so he'll now be attending Marquette. Kudos to Demarius and his beautiful, unbelievable family, the Owens family. And also kudos to Jaden Pinkett, who had a full ride to Siena, played hoops there, transferred to Penn State, and is now one of the top 10 point guards in the country. He is the first one to score 2,000 points, 700 rebounds, 700 assists, and I believe 100 steals in Division I history. So kudos to Jaden, top 10 pick in the NBA.
All right, nobody really cares about the All-Star MVP, but I will say this is good news for Boston. Quick, who won the All-Star MVP last year? Don't know? I know. Who won it the year before that? Don't know? I know. It's pretty hard to remember. Who won it last year? Steph Curry. What did they do? Win the championship. Who won it the year before that? Giannis Antetokounmpo. What did they do? Go on to win a championship. What does this mean for Jason Tatum? A possibility that Boston could, even though they're favored to, win a championship. I hope it's 3 in a row. I hope Jason Tatum is able to complete that roster and complete that team after losing last year's championship. Listen, I like Tatum. I don't really like Boston, but I will say this. They have worked hard to get to this point. All they got to do is just hoist that trophy in a couple of months. That's Unfinished Business being brought to you by the Genesee Brew House. I got to ask, though, how's Jack doing after the championship last year for Aquinas?
Oh, he's doing wonderful. He's at Choate Prep School playing in the Knapsack League. They just won, for the first time in quite some time, the Founders League Conference, which puts them in the top 8 in the prep school playoffs down in New England. So we're excited about that.
Oh, looking forward to seeing that. Hopefully you get a chance to do it. Of course, Duffy, I won't razz you too hard next week, I promise.
Well, you don't hurt me. I hurt you. I think more mean things. I'm going to hurt you, really bad.
We'll see when I'm sitting back in this seat and Bill is back in this seat. We'll find out more about that. Thanks for watching the Rochester Press Box. See you next week.
All right.